Hey guys, Pastor Clint here,
And Giselle.
And Megan.
and this is
Tofu
Soup
Lunch break!
All right, we're on a new season. We are on a garage series, which is I'm so excited.
Yes.
So Megan, what is it
Great
all
garage.
about?
Sabbath, self-care, and rest.
All right, yes, and I think that's really important for us to talk about. So, yeah.
First question. What is Sabbath and why should I care?
In a theological standpoint, Sabbath is God's gift to humanity. And if I'm going to rephrase that, I would say it's God's first gift to humanity because as we remember in the narrative of creation, God created humanity on the sixth day. And after the sixth day, instead of like just commanding them to do something, God's first gift is actually Sabbath, which is to hang out, or that's how I put it in the youth way, in our youth, but more of like to dwell or to rest, not to work, but to rest and just to exist in the presence of God. Yeah. I think that's right.
I love that because it's the way you put it is God's prioritizing that rest before work, before doing. Because if we don't have that rejuvenation, if our cup isn't full, all those different things, and how are we going to do the tasks that we have to do or the work that God has set before us
Right.
the rest of the week?
And I love the concept. This is something I've thought about before. But for us, we always think, Sabbath is like the end of the week, a day to relax. But when we were first created, when humans were first created, it wasn't the last day of their week. It was like the first thing they
day,
ever
yeah.
did.
They're
They
like
were
1 day
created.
old.
Yeah. They were created and they were like,
Wow.
okay, what are we going to do, God? And he was like, we're going to chill.
Yeah.
We're going to rest. And how powerful is that? That's the kind of God we serve. And that's the kind of thing he created us to do. He didn't be like, okay, now that you're here, get to work. He did say you have a purpose here. You have things to do. But first, let's rest and let's hang out and get to know each other.
Yeah. Yeah, talking about rest. What is rest for you guys? How do you define rest? And
I think rest is like, for me, it's like the release of not having to think about my tasks that I have to do. Like think about work, think about the patients I've seen, think about productivity. When I get home every day, I get a few hours to just like empty it out and, be with myself and just like chill. And I feel like that's restful for me. So yeah, it's like the opposite of what I do the rest of the day.
Right.
I think is rest to me.
Wow.
What is rest? Okay, there's different categories. There's physical rest.
Yep.
And then there's kind of spiritual, psychological rest. There's social rest. I don't know. I think it looks different for different people, and I think it is significant that even though we know that there are certain ways, we'll get into this later, but like ways to keep Sabbath pretty much, or to receive Sabbath, that it's not specific. It's like the details are up to you. For me, rest looks a lot like letting go of anxieties, remembering why I'm here. It looks like quality time with people, family and friends. Church family is really important to me.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate the chance to do that on Sabbaths. What does rest look like for you?
Yeah, I mean, the reason why I asked that question is because, we have a misconception on what rest is. Because sometimes, especially in our work, we always define rest as time off, right? Like, it's a weekend. It's our time off. It means you're not productive. But I would redefine that. Like, I would say that rest is being productive. Okay? Rest is being productive because...
Let's unpack that.
Yeah, because it's not just, it's not just about what you can do, but who you really are. Like experiencing rest and being rejuvenated on what really matters most. As you guys mentioned, it's spending time with the people that you love. It's spending time with yourself, and it's not unproductive. I think it's productive because you spend time with the people that matters to you, and I think that's really important. What's the reason why you work? It's for yourself. It's for the people that you love, so that you can provide, right? So yeah, I think it's being rooted on what really matters most. Yeah. So I don't know if you have anything to add.
I have another question.
Yeah.
What do you guys think is the significance of Sabbath being weekly? Because with our work schedules, we're all kind of geared to think we work and then we take a vacation, and this is where we get to do all this quality resting, do what you want to do. Why don't we just do that? Why don't we wait until a certain period of time? Why does it have to be every week that we take a Sabbath or we have Sabbath?
Go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's interesting because
That's a good question.
when it comes to Sabbath, I want to go back to rest. I said it to the group earlier, but yes, rest is. I would say rest is not the absence of work, but it's the presence of peace, purpose, and renewal. So
That's so good.
I think rest has to be a daily thing.
Ooh, daily.
Yeah, it
So
has
it's
to
daily
be
now.
Yeah, it has to be a daily thing.
So
Is
once
Sabbath
a week?
every day?
She said no. No, every day.
Yeah, and I would say mentioning Sabbath as a weekly thing, I think Sabbath is the climax of that rest because every day you're rooted on peace. You work in your area, in your career. You work and you're studying and whatnot. But you're rooted with your purpose. You're not, you're still resting while working. I don't know how. I know it's weird to talk about or just to mention about it, but yeah, it's possible to experience rest while you are surrounded with stress, with a lot of things. It's not the absence of work, but it is
Presence.
the presence
Yeah.
of peace, purpose, and renewal.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Yeah.
that's so
Love
good.
that.
I love that.
Yeah.
The presence of peace, purpose, and renewal. Oh, yeah. That's really good.
That's good.
Yeah, when I think about, I guess, the way I grew up thinking about Sabbath, that's not the definition that came to mind, right? I mean, what was your experience?
Yeah.
Like, did you grow up with that mindset, or?
I mean, I think Sabbath was about rest, but then there's also responsibility that came from like from Sabbath. Like we need to go to church, we need to be on time. We like
It became a chore.
yeah, and it becomes
You have
like
to.
this task, a little later on. But I think, and I think a lot of these thoughts. I've read this run book, and I think you've read it too. The Ruthless Elimination of Hurry by John Mark Comer. A lot of these thoughts I think come from part of the book. Obviously, they're not all original thoughts, obviously, but that book kind of ties that all together where we can experience this concept of Sabbath every day, right? Which is what you were saying, which maybe the stress we feel every day, or like feeling we need to be productive because we know that. Like I think I heard this the other night when we were at Vespers, or was it Vespers? It was somewhere. Oh, no, actually, it was yesterday at my brother's nursing orientation. The speaker there said this quote from Maya Angelou that is about success. And she says, success is doing something you like and liking the way you do it. And we can throw that concept into how we do Sabbath, how we live each day with this idea of purpose and prosperity and fulfillment each day, just doing the thing that we like every day, or working towards doing the thing we like every day, like just studying for school and stuff like that, and doing it the way that we know is best to do it. And that's a concept we can get into Sabbath, right? There's so many ways to do Sabbath. There's so many maybe rules and things like that. But if we do it the way we like and we align that to how God has set us up to do that, then I think that's rest in itself too.
That's good.
The microphone.
Yeah. For me, thinking about it as a student, I've been in a pretty tough program this past year plus now. I'm going into my second year of it. Sabbath has had a whole new meaning for me.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever appreciated it quite this much. And for me, when I started school, I'm in grad school and it's very demanding. There's been a lot of pressures, especially I'm about to start clinicals. And so, the stress is high, and I always feel like every second of the day I'm like, should I be studying something? Should I be preparing? Should I be planning? And I think there's a lot of people that can relate to that pressure. But I knew when I started, I made a promise with God, and I was like, okay, I'm going to keep Sabbath in school, and I'm going to make it a point to set aside our time together. Even if I'm also trying to do it every day. I'm trying to do devotionals. You know, I try to have a mindset of rest, but I don't always make it during the week. Yeah. I'm studying, I'm working, I'm putting in the time. But when it comes to Sabbath at the end of the week, I say, okay, God, whatever I've been going through, I literally like sunset has been my time where I just like, I drop everything. I close my computer. I'm like, okay,
being
we're
intentional.
Here. We made it. And it's like a huge exhale. And I just go, oh, it's Sabbath now. Oh, I can rest in him. I can just like lean back into God's arms and be like, okay, you carry me now. I've been.
That's the gift, right? Like that itself. Yeah.
Yeah. And sometimes it doesn't always look like sleeping. Sometimes I'm going to church or we're doing some sort of activity. I feel like sometimes Sabbaths are busier than my school days, because my school days I'll be like, okay, now I wake up and now I study and now I go outside and take a walk. But on Sabbath, it's kind of a wild card. Yeah. And I'm just like, God, what do you want to do today? Like, this is your time. Like, go crazy.
Sometimes you don't know what to expect on Sabbath.
Yeah, but
it's not programmed sometimes.
You're right about it being a realignment of our purpose, because the fact that I give that time back to him in kind of the way that we give part of our finances back to him, and we give part of everything we have back to him. In reality, it's all his. But for us, for our personal journeys, and just taking that time to intentionally say, oh, wait, but this part is specifically yours. That does something to me. And that does so much for me that I don't know if I would have ever made it this far without the blessings of Sabbath that have followed me this whole time.
Oh, yeah.
So last, why do we care about Sabbath?
You know what? I love, there's one word that you mentioned a minute ago that I really loved, and it's promise. Like, I think, like, going back to all the, 10, 15 minutes ago when we said that, Sabbath was the first, or rest was the first thing God had us do. I think when we do it weekly or daily or however that looks like, however that manifests every single day, it's keeping that promise to God that we're going to keep living in the way that he designed for us to live. Right. And that's having that rest every day. Yeah, we live in a sinful world. And, when the world began and God had Adam and Eve rest and the animals rest initially, like that didn't exist. But we can still implement that into our daily lives.
Like a little piece of heaven on earth.
Yeah.
Every week.
Ooh.
That's so good.
Amazing.
Okay, we hope you enjoyed this lunch break episode, wherever you are, if you're driving to work or eating a meal or whatever you're doing. We hope we've stirred up some conversation and given you something to digest.
Until next time.